This video is sponsored by liquid rubber. There's going to be more on that later. Well, there comes a time in every man's life that, you know what, he needs a driving shed. So the idea is to build one. All right, now that we got all the posts in the holes, all we got to do is line them up and backfill. Now this is an important part. So my plan going forward is to basically mound up the dirt around the posts and I pack it in. And if you just kind of, as it settles, you just kind of ram it in with your sledgehammer, and it packs pretty much like concrete. These things will not just, you know, pop out of the ground easily once they're packed in. And the idea behind this shelter is that it's not like, you know, it's not a forever shelter. It's a temporary shelter in air quotes, because you know, 40 years is temporary, right? All right, next on the docket is to mill up a couple of these guys here. They're relatively thick, but the only problem is I currently have this Norwood HD36 mill set up for 16/6. This thing here is actually really good for doing oversized logs. What I do is it's designed to actually lift one side or the other. Like if you have like a tapered log, you can get more material out of the log if you raise and lower this, so you can kind of give it on like a little bit of a slant. That was not bad at all, actually. That I did it a new way. I ended up taking the log and cutting it, the top of it, and then instead of pushing it forward, which my original plan was, I actually just rolled it over, and then because I have flat surface to work on, and then I cut that other side, and then I had two flat surfaces to work from, and then I used a couple of just chunks of looks like 3x3, and then I propped it up, and I was able to actually slide it back and then cut my extra 4 feet. Actually, real time on the actual cut was about 15 minutes, which isn't terrible for a 20-foot long beam. Like if you had to buy a 20-foot long beam, you'd be talking like, I can't even imagine what they cost. Well, the only reason that looks easy is because, well, A, I've done it quite a few times, and B, is because I got a laser level. So this is the Lasgoo laser level. I've talked about it before on my channel. The link will be in the description below if you want yourself a laser level. It's invaluable when it comes to, you know, leveling off posts. So basically what I did was I took the laser, set it up on the tree with a metal plate, then I can adjust it up and down. It also has like micro adjustments on it where you can turn the little dial and get up and down ever so slightly, and so basically find your shortest post. As you guys can see here, those are all at the same height because I shot the laser from over there. Seems like I don't go a day without breaking the handle off a hand tool. I don't know, it's amazing really that I didn't even like overstrike or anything, it just broke. I don't know. Sledgehammer? Just another thing to do on a rainy day. Rehandle all my tools. And this is going to be my bracket that the grain bin pieces are going to attach to. I've already got a chalk line. So my plan is to put that like that, and that'll give me a drip edge. All right, so the plan is to pre-assemble this somewhat in order to kind of give me a shape and something to hold. All right, safety officer Frankie, what do you think of this plan? I've already gone over the plan with Frankie, and Frankie seems indifferent. So this is the plan. The plan is to we'll ratchet strap a 2x8 to the end of the forks on the tractor and grab the bin section right in the middle and kind of balance it up there somewhere, and hopefully everything works out. Right, Safety Officer Frankie? Do you agree with that plan? All right, that's the plan. See if it works. You know it's gonna be sketchy when you got the GoPro on your head. Wish me luck. This is why you don't start anything new after 2. Yeehaw! See that? I'm not too worried about the gaskets and stuff because I'm going to waterproof it after. It's just so just like that. Well, since I'm not long enough to reach both sides of the bin and I gotta hold the nut, what I've done is I've taken a hard drive magnet and I've attached it to the nut, and that allows me to stick it to the bin. And then if you can see that, right? And that allows me from the underside to put the washer on. It stays because it's magnetic, and then to screw the nut on. And then what I do is actually use a wrench taped to a stick, and then I can hold it way back there while I turn it from the top. See? That's what I've been doing. If you had a second person, this would go a lot easier. 2.5 panels left and I've got a system. Because, you know, you develop a system and then use it never again. Because you're like, why am I doing this? So basically what I've done is I've tagged the bottom down on both sides, and what that allows me to do, I guess, is to straightens the panel somewhat. Well, I should probably have done this before I started this building, but you know, better late than never. I got to do cleanup. I've got all these kind of sticks and branches and stuff in the way. And I got to put some buttresses in. Buttress! Buttress! I think if you want like an aerobic activity, collecting branches is got to be up there with the caloric burn. Yeah, so I ran for about, I don't know, felt like about 6 hours. No, it was about like 20 minutes, half an hour. I've got it pretty much cleaned up to the point where I can walk around. I don't get tripped by little clamps. I didn't wear gloves because I was like, I don't want a glove to get caught on a branch and suck me into the chipper. Like, this isn't an episode of Farley. Other than you got to know what to feed it. You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them. And it doesn't like branches about that big that are fresh. So yeah, just don't put them in there. And but for as a branch manager, this thing is definitely an asset to have around, especially for the price. If you want one, the link will be down in the description below. It's the Van Sen wood chipper. It's pretty cool. Also, my public service announcement, when you have a tool that looks like a stick and it's got a wrench on the end of it, be careful where you put it, because this came that close from going through the chipper. And fortunately, it did not go through the chipper. Fortunately, you know, make sure you don't send your wrench through the chipper. Well, I've come to realize that I need a back wall to help support my roof. So I need another post, which is going to be right about there. And I'm going to put another beam in. Right, Frankie? We get to use a new toy. A new toy! A new tool. Got my own little gravel pit in that hole. This was in there. That was in there. That's deep enough. All right, so we got our cross beam in. What I did was I used a ratchet strap in order to pull posts in because the ceiling had already deflected a little bit. So I got that in, notched that off a little bit in order to fit the curve. And then I added some really, really long nails, spikes to attach this piece to this piece. And then what I did was I actually added some really large lag screws through the bin. There's 3 of them there. Remove the ratchet strap and it should do nothing. Should not move. And then what the plan is to carry on with another post up to the ceiling, further supporting the ceiling from doing anything during the winter months. I'm going to pull it in because if I pull it in and then put the buttress in, then it'll stay where I want it to. That guy's gonna go right about there. Should probably mark that and cut it. Now we got our top and bottom rails on. What we're going to do is we're going to clad it with these pieces of offcuts of pine. They're kind of like half round, so you can see both sides of them. So the idea is to kind of place them, and I cut them a little kind of short. And the reason why I cut them short is because I want to be able to put like a sacrificial bottom piece, which is probably going to be a piece of cedar, like just round cedar, and then I can just tuck it on the bottom, because what happens with a lot of bottoms of the logs, if they're touching the dirt, is they rot. All right, we made some good progress on the inside of this bad boy. We got our battens on, which is, well, most of our battens on. We're moving on to something different because just, you know, the weather's cooperating with us today. Pressure treated, they're from a skid, so no cost there. We got like 1x3s roughly, and we filled in all the gaps. Even in the back wall, we did the same thing. We actually did 1x4s back here, which, because our gaps were slightly larger, but you can see it's kind of filled in the space really, really well. Now, we have a plan for our front door. Essentially, we got an old roll-up door. You know, my buddy Grant, he's along for the ride. So we have an old door that was kind of like I guess it was an overstocker. Anyways, the garage door guy was like, "You want this thing?" And I said, "Yep." So it's a door that rolls up, so like a loading dock door. So the plan is to somehow fashion it inside the opening of this thing. So the original plan was just leave this thing open, but you know what, why not close it in if we've got the door? So we got some scrap steel. We're gonna weld up, add like a plate here of some kind.
Get to the front of the pile, we'll drop it and roll it in.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. right, so fast forward a couple of months. We went through an entire winter already. Can you believe that? I started this build project in September, and well, we've gone through an entire winter. What I've discovered is that the center seam is leaking a little bit. There's a little bit of a drip, drip, drip. So I think it's the center seam, and primarily because it's not necessarily roofing material. This is more of a wall cladding. It's an old grain bin. If you guys have been following this so far. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is, as opposed to reinventing the wheel, I'm going to delve into the tried, tested, and true, which is a product that I used a long time ago. I really liked it. It was easy to apply, and the product is liquid rubber. So yeah, it just works, which is crazy in this day and age. To have a product just work right out of the box. You don't have to fiddle with it. You don't have to fart with it. You don't have to like, yeah, just apply it, and yeah, it's just waterproof. Like, imagine that. Anyways, so the product is liquid rubber. It's color sealant, and it's designed to go on well, any kind of roof you got. In this case, it's a galvanized steel. There's a little bit of prep work to do. It's not even an oil-based product. It's a latex-based product, which is really great for me because I tend to get it all over me, and you can just wash it off with water. So this stuff is a zero VOC. There's no volatile organic compounds, which means you can live a lot longer if you don't inhale those volatile organic compounds. First of all, I'm going to clean all of the debris off the roof. There is a pine forest. And what I'm going to use is a leaf blower. Or in this case, it's a pine blower. We're going to pine blow. Okay, now we've got all the debris off. We are going to wash it. This is RV cleaner. This is a VOC, environmentally friendly product. And it is designed to clean the surface. And it'll give you a nice, clean place for your liquid rubber to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our liquid RV cleaner and we're gonna put it, you see this down here? We're gonna put it in a, basically a little sprayer. The idea is to keep it wet, and you don't want it to let it dry before you wash it off. You let it stand for 5 to 10 minutes, and then you rinse it off. It's easy as that, and then you got your surface all nicely cleaned. Now before I do that, what I'm going to do is actually wet the surface with a just a hose in order to give it a little bit of dampness. Otherwise it'll dry really, really, really fast. So let's get it a little damp first. All right, we got it all clean. Now we have to seal our joints. Some of the pine needles don't really want to come out, so as I go down the seam, just make sure those are all removed. I imagine there's going to be some leaf blower in the future, just because the way, it's in the pine trees. So anyway, get those all cleaned up. So that's the problem there, is that the rubber degrades over time, and then you get a leak through that thing. So the idea behind the seam tape is it bridges that gap. And I also think we have leaking here, which is like the nexus of the universe, where you got 4 panels joining together. So the idea is to basically, this will come up here, that'll go down there, and then that will bridge on top, and then it'll make it watertight. I'll just lay down on the roof for this one. All right, so this is the seam tape. It allows you to kind of, start that again. All right, so we're gonna make this thing waterproof. We're gonna do it right. All right, we're gonna tape up the seams. We've got our seam tape from Liquid Rubber. This is a product that bridges any seams and allows it to create a watertight seal. I got a roll already out of the package here. It's 4 inches wide. And the idea, as I precariously lean on this roof, is you take it. See, it's really, really sticky. It's kind of like you put it there and then you don't move it because it doesn't move. Okay, so there. We're gonna take that and we're gonna stick it in the seam. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right over the seam, put the seam sort of right in the middle, and we're gonna get our bolts as well. And we're gonna just stick it down, just like that. We want intimate contact with the roof and all of the bolts that are protruding out. So we go up and down and around, all just sealed in there. We don't want the water to kind of sneak in. After everything's done, I'm gonna take a seam roller and make sure everything is really stuck down. I doubt I could pull it off if I tried, because it's like super sticky. I don't know what kind of glue this stuff is on here, but it's like I wouldn't want to get it stuck to your arm. All right, so now that we've got all our seams taped, we've got the envelope pretty much completed. Now all we got to do is prime the rusty spots. And the reason why we prime the rusty spots is so it doesn't bleed through the final finish. It doesn't really affect water tightness, but it does affect the appearance. So it could bleed through the liquid rubber. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just coat the rusty spots, and then we can put our liquid rubber on, and we've got our rubber watertight seal. Well, I think that's looking pretty snazzy. That's one coat, and we use just under 10 gallons, which I figured we can do 3 really heavy coats, which works out to about 30 gallons. The idea is to get a really thick coverage, and that allows it to be waterproof. 10 gallons a coat. I was, you know, paying extra attention to my joints, because that stuff's going to drink in a little bit more of the liquid rubber, because it's like a geotextile, and I was picking out the cruds as I went. Hard. The pine needles just keep falling, the bane of my existence. But I figure it kind of adds to the, you know, the structural integrity of it all, because it's like a, you know, it's kind of like when you add fiber to your cement. But yeah, we're gonna check a look again tomorrow, throw another coat on that bad boy, and yeah, get this project, get it looking awesome. All right, so when you guys weren't paying attention, I put another coat on. So this is the second coat. You can, like, look how durable that is. You can still feel a little stickiness, but that's dried up really well. I did it early this morning. There's our seam, but we got a nice durable rubber coating on that thing. Doesn't that look beautiful? All right, so I found the technique to actually do the top from front to back, kind of as far as I can reach over, and then actually walk along the edge. It works really well. Like paint. Like paint, you put too much on, you come back later on and it's just, this stuff just stays where you put it, which is really impressive. What I'm using to spray this thing is basically it's an Ultra 395 PC. I don't know what that, it's a Graco machine. And I happen to have a fine tip on the gun, so you don't even need one of those, I got some on me, So you don't even need, I've been using a fine tip. You don't necessarily need a fine tip. You could also apply it with a brush or a roller. I've done that before. Obviously it's not the same type of finish. Anytime you spray something, you get a nicer finish. I'm really impressed with the finish on this. Probably because I got the fine tip and then I'm actually spraying it. So anyway. All right, one more thing I'm going to mention before I stop gushing about liquid rubber is this stuff is water-based, it is low VOC, it is non-hazardous to your plants or your animals once it's dry. There's no toxic runoff or anything like that. It's just one reliable, tough product. All right, so the story on this roll-up door, it was overstock from a door company that it was just in their way, so they wanted to get rid of it, and I said, absolutely, I want to take it. So basically, the best way to get yourself a door like this is to get the door first. Build your structure to accommodate those features. But I didn't pay anything for it. I basically, you know, said I have a place for it. You're welcome to drop it off. After day one, it kind of had a little bit of a sticky texture to it. After like 4 days, it's very, you can feel it. It's very hard, and it's not very tacky or sticky anymore. If you look really closely there, you can see that around the fastener, we've got like a barrier of liquid rubber that kind of impregnated and sealed all the way around that bolt. So that's the kind of thickness. It's not like paint. It's got some real thickness to it, real body. So it does seal up in and around all the fasteners. Well, we're safe inside, nice and dry. This is actually the first official test of the liquid rubber compound on this roof. Like last time I was in this roof without the liquid rubber
On top of it, we had drip, drip, drip every once in a while. So it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks where the liquid rubber's been on. It has cured, and well, we're in here. We're getting basically a downpour. What I'm noticing is there's nothing leaking through the roof. The other actually bonus thing I've noticed is it's not as loud as before. Usually the rain would hit the tin roof and then it'd be really, really loud. And it's kind of like subdued that noise. I'm sure it's the rubber just like attaching itself to it, like adding density. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that sort of, that's like a added bonus. It's cool, there's no water coming in. Although I'm stuck in here, waiting for the rain to stop raining. It's been a couple of weeks since I've got my waterproofing on. It's watertight. Thanks again to Liquid Rubber for sponsoring this video. The product is great. I like the people and highly recommend them. So if you guys are looking for rubber roofing, need to repair something that's existing, be sure to check them out. The link will be in the description below. But yeah, I really like this the shed. Everything seems to fit okay. I don't really have to jam anything in, which is also a really good idea. The idea is this is a driving shed, so this is designed to basically anything that drives, you put it in here. And I didn't really want to put anything else in here, but yeah, I got you can kind of just put stuff in sideways. It's big enough to do that. And yeah, I got room for some other stuff, but there's some plans. There's some extra plans for this thing. Maybe I'll put a little upper level because why is it so dark in here? There's a little bit of an upper level storage at some point, but yeah, I'm pleased with the way it's turned out right now. There's always room for improvement, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me on the next one.